We should be live.
It would appear so.
Yeah, I can see myself.
Awesome. And I can hear everyone. Perfect. So that functioned. That is great. Hello, good evening, and welcome everyone to Gilded Age, a Cypher system actual play about nascent heroes in a world entirely unprepared for them. I am D, your Night Wanderer, and I am here to mystify and titillate the players, whom we shall introduce in the standard order. Dora.
Hi, I'm Pandora Beatrix. I will be playing. Oh no, I have to remember the thing. Coraline Templeton, a weird sympathetic nexus who solves mysteries with a cozy magic flavor.
Awesome. A lot of things for one great character. Glitch.
Hi everybody, it's Glitch. Happy Pride Month. I legally have to say that. I'm playing probably the queerest character I could possibly play in this campaign, which is oh so fitting. I'm playing Victor, who is an inquisitive adept who inks spells on skin.
Indeed. Very queer character, truly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Adam, words are failing me. That is great for a Saturday evening.
Hi, I'm Adam, better known as Soulbind, most places on the internet. I will be playing Remy Graves, the mutant mesmer of 1,000 faces. I think.
Something to that effect, at any rate.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it. It's on the screen everywhere. It's off to there, it's off down here, it's everywhere. Yeah, we've got you covered with the stats.
He's a snack boy. That's
Yeah.
what he is.
He's a charming little snack boy. Ben!
Hello, I'm Ben Newborn. You can find me as Ben Newborn anywhere on the internet. Some places on the internet. I'll be playing Rex Globe. He is a hellborn vagrant who is made of magma with a protection flavor.
There we go.
Yeah, he's a volcano boy.
He's a volcano boy. Snack boy, volcano boy. And Cora and Victor.
Nice.
Alrighty. Now, last we left off, we had another one of our cozy little side stories. In this case, we had an investigation into a strange concatenation of business people doing a quick little duck waddle towards a building called the Stock Marketplace, which our heroes eventually discovered to have been a cover for mimicry specialized aliens that were created by other world invading aliens. These particular ones, however, seem to be peaceful and thus have a glitch within them, no pun intended, with as far as the creator aliens are concerned, which is why they are in hiding. But they mimicry peacefully, and they need a stable anchor for that. Their previous anchor having been the stock market, we know how that ended up for them. But now they have the most stable anchor of all, the universal wish of everyone on this planet for universal health care. The stock marketplace has thus become the Merciful Heart Hospital. It has opened their doors to our heroes in case they should need any healing, patching up, re-sawing, or re-sewing of limbs.
I don't like the way you phrased that.
No? Why?
He didn't say
I
it was
feel
good
like that's
universal
foreshadowing
healthcare.
of something.
Foreshadowing. How dare you accuse me of being good? We are going to pick up not many days after this event. Back at the headquarters, the big warehouse where Echo tends to reside and where everyone kind of like gathers because it seems to have the greatest amount of discarded secondhand furniture that can be used by everyone to sit and lounge upon. Echo herself, as well as Time Trial and Lily, are not here today because they are off each on their own private personal business. But the rest of our heroes are gathered, enjoying a quiet morning over a cup of tea, coffee, or wishful thinking. And the TV, as it usually is running in the background. What are you guys talking about at the moment? Or are you talking?
Cora is complaining about differential equations, as one does when one is in college.
Victor would be avidly listening to those complaints, I think.
No.
She just wants to know how to make things and do things, and they have to make it all complicated with math.
Fair. To this point, Glitch, how similar or different do you think Victor's perception of such a thing as mathematics would be, considering that he has been in some other worlds, compared to this world?
Yeah, that's a great question that I totally know the answer to.
This is a
sometimes I look back
masterclass
at
for
my
DMs
decisions
who
and
improvise and don't
most-
prep.
Well, this is the consequences of my own action in choosing to play a very scientific character when I myself am not that. So this is, in fact, everybody watching, the consequences of my own actions bite me in the ass. I mean, I think it would be probably vastly different simply because of the world he was previously on and how much easier it was for him to do that kind of stuff there versus here
absolutely.
where he can no longer just like do it with a snap of his fingers like he used to be able to. I think it would be I think he would both kind of love and hate it because one, it's not as easy anymore, and he got very used to it being easy and simple. But I think he would also kind of love it because it's going back to before even that time where he did have to just write everything down with a pen and paper and like chalkboards around a lab and stuff like that. So I think it would kind of be he hates that it's not as easy anymore, but he likes going back to his roots.
There's like
and,
a
like,
comforting
figure
nostalgia in it.
Yeah, but also figuring out how a lot of what he knows from the world he was just previously in before this one, how it kind of like differs in this new world where nothing is what it should be, and how he can kind of like slot what he does know into what he doesn't.
Absolutely. And it is also a very fascinating thing, probably for both of you within this exchange, to observe how, because Cora, like you're going to these classes, you're learning about these differential equations, you're learning about like these kind of like things that are being sold to you as the very basic building blocks of the universe, the laws upon which everything resides, in a world that very much is no longer following those very same rules. So there's probably a certain amount of frustration bubbling up at that, but also a fascination, I think, at least for Victor. I don't know if it's reciprocated by Cora, but also probably a fascination at seeing how whatever had happened had interwoven these kind of like old and new laws into one thing that seems to be functioning. I mean, it's still kind of early days, right? It's still only several months since this has happened. We don't know if we are headed for a cosmic apocalypse in half a year or something, but, at least for now, it's fun to theorize about it.
We should probably figure out if that is actually what is happening, though. Just in case.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Probably figuring out if the world is important, but yeah.
Sorry, we're small cogs in this machine.
Absolutely. And during this conversation, what are Remy and Rex doing?
So I think Rex has been all this time struggling to find a suitable way to sleep that is both comfortable and does not destroy beds, because he is a big heavy rock. Um, and I think he's finally settled on tires. So he's been like gradually acquiring big like truck tires and dragging them into this warehouse and just sticking them in a corner until he's got them in a like decent enough position that he can just kind of flop onto them and not destroy like a wall or a bed or anything like that.
Mhm.
And so he's just surrounded by tires. Maybe he's like gotten up and he's still got like a tire like stuck on his arm or something. Like they're the only thing that doesn't melt. Like they're heavy duty enough rubber.
Yeah, I was about to say there's certainly some sort of vulcanization pun in there. Um,
Somewhere.
yeah, and probably you at some point when you decided, okay, that's enough tires for a bed and everything. Maybe Rex at some point then decided, you know what, I could build an armchair out of more tires as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's been starting to like create furniture out of tires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So everyone else is on a couch and he's just on this big throne of like tires.
Okay.
Amazing. Suddenly Mad Max aesthetics. What about Remy?
I think Remy is rummaging through the kitchen area, trying to find some bourbon for his coffee, and then complaining that it's like really crap bourbon when he finds whatever liquor he manages to find. Mostly trying to ignore the talk of math and science and things that give him a headache. But will occasionally chime in with this, theory of what's happening to the world, and that it's, it's always either the government or some big company experiment. Money makes the universe go round.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, fair. And you guys are kind of like spending your time there together, kind of enjoying this sort of. There is a comforting sort of companionship that is growing out of this bond that has been created for you, primarily and first and foremost by the Johns as your first big team-wide kind of adventure, let's call it, mission, if you will. I don't know if we're bold enough to call them missions as of yet, but there is sort of this shared wish to help that binds you together into a team, and that also helps with this kind of possibly more so for Rex and Remy, who, due to the way that they have been altered by the event, have faced a more severe and sudden disconnect from the rest of humanity than for the rest. And for Victor, perhaps a sort of comforting reintroduction into society after spending so much time alone with his thoughts and a world that, even though it obeyed his every whim and whimsy, ultimately was devoid of a personality and of a sapience that would be required for friendship. And obviously, as the focal point of this, we have Cora, who is just the friendliest person I have ever seen in any TTRPG. So, I think that there is possibly for Cora as well, at the very least on a subconscious level, the awareness of her needing to be there to help these people find those strings of attachment to each other, to find that shared kind of feeling of community. And even though everyone is doing their own thing, and this discussion is happening over here, and the others may or may not be following it, and Remy is jumping in with this discussion about the way the world is now and everything. As this is happening, there is still kind of this bonding sensation going on, and all of a sudden the TV program kind of like starts glitching out a little. and the TV just loses a little bit of the signal. And
Oh, not again.
Yeah.
Someone else thumped it this time. I broke the last set.
I mean, we don't have like cable here, right? Like this is just broadcast TV.
Like rabbit ears.
yeah, it's broadcast TV. It's not cable.
Okay. Yes. Then Cora will happily do the antenna thing because that's
Yep.
a very simple troubleshooting process.
Yeah, absolutely. You do the antenna thing, and obviously we all know what the antenna thing is, and the picture becomes clearer, and you see that somehow in doing the antenna thing, you also seem to have kind of like shifted the channel. Like it's a different channel now, and it's a news channel, and on this news channel, you see pretty blown up over the screen this large image, this photograph of a middle-aged woman with long dark hair and kind of a friendly but ultimately relatively plain face. Like this is not a person you would expect on a runway maybe, but seems a very kind person. Like even looking at this face in this photograph, you immediately have this impression of this is a kind and good person, and you realize that the reason that this picture is being shown on the TV is because this person is missing, and the police are currently asking for any hints as to where she might be. Her name is Jane Forden, and she is a social worker who has been doing a lot of volunteer work at the Immortal Soul Church Hospital, which is kind of like a hospital that does a lot of charity work. They do not necessarily pro bono stuff, but they are state funded and they are also religious community funded. Like they get their funding from donations rather than charging their patients. And she has been doing a lot of volunteer work at the hospital, and the hospital does rely a lot on volunteers and charitable acts. Kind of, there's this sort of general feeling of why would a person like this, dominantly placed in a position like that, be missing, right? And they basically say that she just went off one day from the hospital, and she was last seen by some of the sisters who work at the chapel that is adjacent, and she hasn't been seen since. And another kind of like interesting detail to this is that roughly around the same time, maybe like it's difficult to tell, but roughly around the same time, the priest who has been working at that chapel has also disappeared. But it's kind of like his disappearance has only become apparent as hers has. And he was maybe last seen 12 to 24 hours before she was, or at least that's like it's very difficult to tell what the timeline is of when he disappeared and when she disappeared, but the last eyewitnesses that had seen him and that can say that they have seen him and talked to him seem to say that it was before the time period when she was last seen.
Oh, a forbidden love affair when I think somebody ran off with a priest.
I mean, I guess. Although, like I mean, I don't know. I feel like somebody have responsibilities and stuff like that. You'd like leave a note or something.
Yeah.
Well, Cora is curious enough that she's just going to immediately try to wayfind to we'll say the woman Jane Forden.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Do you remember that?
I remember that. I remember the feeling of it.
Okay.
I remember the taste that it leaves in my mouth. I'm reading it now. By accident, a character can ask the GM one question and get one general answer, but we altered that a little bit. Okay. So we are going to say this is going to start off as a level 6 task.
Okay.
It is an intellect task.
Yeah.
You have the Prodigy Power Shift, which that's just to get it, and then you have it eased 3 times, so that reduces the level down to 3. So you would need a 9 or higher on your D20 roll to get it, unless you're applying effort.
Which she would, because she's
Okay.
sort of swimming in pool these days.
Absolutely fair.
She's got 2 intellect edge. So the first one is 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and she now also can apply up to 2 effort. So the second one is 2. So that's
Exactly.
3 total.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I know how things work.
Which reduces the total level to 1, which means that you need a 3 or higher to succeed on this. And don't remember that the ability itself also has a cost.
Yes. Cool. That's a 1.
Oh no!
Oh, against all odds.
Oh no! Well,
Things
that's
happen.
yeah, absolutely.
That's storytelling.
It was sideways. I was like, is that a 7? No, it's
Okay, well, sometimes the dice take care of the issue. Yeah, so you kind of like try to find a way to Jane Fornan, and you kind of get this impression. Oh, okay, it's just that away. You just need to take the. Was it the 32, or was it the tram? No, clearly you need to take the Uber and drive to the hospital? Or to her home? But where does she live? And as you kind of like try to focus on this ever more, you kind of start almost like there's this flickering hint of that web that you saw when all of this first started. And you kind of like zone in on this web and start focusing on it ever more, and then you just start, you get in on that one node, and then all of a sudden there are these infinite possibilities of everything being interconnected. And you start kind of like running down one node, then running down the other, then taking this left, this right, and just like going all over the place with it. Until you reach a point where it's very difficult to realize what happens, but it almost feels like within this liminal space of observing this web of holistic interconnectedness, you have run into an ethereal wall. And you have found something that seems to be shielded from your perception. There is some piece of the multiversal string of causality that you are not allowed to see. And you missed some great words, Ben.
I'm sure I did.
At the very same time, you are almost certain that you have gone down a rabbit hole that has absolutely nothing to do with Jane Fordan. Or if it does, it is tangential at best.
That's sort of the problem. Everything has to do with everything, but almost never simply. Cora's eyes go real bright, and then one of them changes to like a broken eggshell, and the other one is like I don't know, some sort of swirling purple gas. And she's like, I don't So I don't know where she's is, if she is. Real confusing things just happened. Um, I can't tell. No, I can't. There's almost nothing that I can say usefully, except that something's going on, which I guess we knew.
Yeah, that's that about something.
It feels like the way that I normally like look for how to like get from a thing to another thing to a place to a person and all that stuff, that it's there's like, I don't know, like there's somebody put DRM on some of it now, which that's just rude.
I suppose if we want to find somebody who went missing, the best place to start would be looking at where they live. I might be able to make some calls. I know some folks at a different charity organization that might know something about some of the folks over at the hospital. I don't know for sure. So Remy will put in a call over to Sacred Hearts, the charity organization that he launders stolen mob money into. And we'll just see if they know the missing person or anything about them or where they might have lived or anything useful.
Okay. This is going to be an investigation or something to the maybe detective work, if you have anything to that effect kind of role. It is to do with kind of like the research of the whereabouts of a person, to see if you can get to a person who knows something in a reasonable amount of time. It's an intellect role, and we're gonna make it a 4 as a baseline. Now you have an intelligence power shift, so that is going to lower it down to a 3. Do you have anything else that would be useful?
I am willing to spend an experience for a player intrusion. I have a few suggestions there that are kind of useful, but I think perfect suggestion is probably the go-to. But a follower or other already friendly NPC suggests a course of action with regard to an urgent question, problem, or obstacle you're facing.
Let me just find the thing.
That's a pretty good player intrusion.
Yeah, that's an awesome player intrusion. Player intrusions are generally great. And do remind me, after today, there is going to be a new thing that I'm going to give you guys the ability to do.
We love new
Die.
things.
Yay,
Don't you just?
That's intriguing.
He didn't say it was a good thing.
I know,
We
but
all
I'm
like new
being
things.
optimistic.
Yeah, it's called Blaze of Glory. No,
Sometimes you have to just be like hopeful.
yeah,
and,
absolutely. Sometimes just hope
Yeah.
for the best. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
hope
going
for the best, expect the worst.
exactly. Now let me just double check, unless someone has that off the top of their head. I think because it costs an experience point, a player intrusion just completely voids the roll, right? Because
I
that's
think that's my understanding. Yeah.
yeah, I think it is like that because it is 21 and 412. Those are great pages. 21 says player intrusion. The player choosing to alter something in the campaign, making things easier for a player character. Conceptually, it is the reverse of a GM intrusion. Yes. What a player intrusion can do usually introduces a change to the world or current circumstances rather than directly changing the character. For instance, an intrusion indicating that the Cypher just used still has an additional use would be appropriate, but an intrusion that heals the character would not. If the player has no XP to spend, yeah, that's clear. That said, not every player intrusion listed here is appropriate for all situations. Refuses the intrusion, the player doesn't spend the XP in the intrusion. No, why would it do that? Using an intrusion does not require a character to use an action to trigger it. The player intrusion just happens. Yeah, we're going to say that player intrusions for roles that are not too critical, because there's going to be roles where you're still going to have to roll even if you use a intrusion, but it's going to make it easier. But for something like this, we're just going to say it happens. And you do, by kind of like going into this, you don't necessarily know immediately the person who would know where she lives, but you know a person who would be willing to help in this. Like, you don't go directly to your mob contacts, you go to the charity contacts. You go to the people who are actually people who like to help. And as such, you go to them, and they kind of like immediately start going. And what would have probably been a very long slog for you to find all of this stuff out, to bribe people to go visit people and stuff, instead is settled by just a network of people who love to help, who help each other and who know each other. And it's actually through this kind of like a grapevine of charity workers that you get the information about Jane. Which is that you have her address, and basically the consensus seems to be that she essentially goes. She works two things. She works in a she works in kind of like a rehabilitation center for people who have just left prison, and kind of like helping them reintegrate into society once their sentence is done. And then she also works as a volunteer in this hospital, and that pretty much takes up all of her time. So she doesn't really frequent anything else. She seems to have completely immersed herself into helping people.
See, sometimes you talk nice to folks and you just get exactly what you need. We got an address. Also, she apparently worked, in addition to the hospital, at a halfway house. Might be worth checking out, but I imagine we check out her place first. Who's driving?
We run into this issue.
Every time.
Every time, every session, every game. It's a would-be heroes thing. It's cursed. This channel is cursed not to have rational ways of transport.
We know who doesn't own a car.
Oh, I got a car. I just don't drive.
And we also know who physically can and cannot drive.
What's his face?
So I can go recruit again.
Yeah. I'm trying to find what the name was of the guy.
Maybe I still have his number. He's just unwillingly taking on a new side gig.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can definitely go out and find someone to impart the ideal of driving you onto.
For fair compensation.
Yes, of course, for fair compensation. Do you?
Yeah. So he will do that. We'll go charm an unsuspecting citizen who seems trustworthy and safe, and the first one that doesn't flee when the snake man comes toward them.
I just absolutely am in love with the idea of, over time, there being a whole bunch of people out there in the city with the story of this giant snake man came out of the shadows and made me drive him to a place and then gave me money.
Oh, it's more like he came out of the shadows and then I just really wanted to drive him places.
Yeah.
It sounds so bad when we say it out loud.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't, though, right?
Yeah,
Right?
no, absolutely. I mean, you look at him and you go, "Oh my God, this poor guy doesn't have any legs. Let me drive him to somewhere." Yeah. So you go out, and I don't think I'm going to make you roll because this is something that obviously you are going to be doing a lot. So we're not necessarily going to roll for this.
Shenanigans that I could make that roll go away anyway.
And yeah, you successfully find a driver, Stephen Bond. if you're interested.
Steve, I'm just gonna start a Rolodex. I have these people that want him will always be available.
Yeah. And you get him to come back and not even drive you in his car, but instead to drive you in your car, which has been especially created to host a giant snake man, a boulder, and some other people. And so you all pile in and you drive off. And it's not a long drive. It's maybe like 15 to 20 minutes with traffic. And you are at the address, which seems to be just like one of those normal multiple story buildings. Nothing too skyscrapery, nothing too extravagant, but just like a 12 to 20 apartment building. She lives on the third floor. Because the stairs are gonna haunt all of you forever.
Always with the stairs.
Every time you say a floor above the first, I very specifically feel targeted.
Like, if y'all want to wait here, I can go up and like take pictures with my phone or something.
Why don't these buildings have elevators? I don't understand. How old?
Well, they usually only put them in if you have like at least 5 floors. I don't know. Also, sometimes if they're older, because then they didn't have one in the first place, and it's kind of hard to put them in after the fact.
This is definitely an
Writing a
older
letter to
building.
the city council.
Yeah. Change their ideals to building elevators everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. We could. I would be great at PTA meeting. Homeowner association, like, yeah.
What you
Remy's
should
gonna
do is
revolutionize the community.
Right.
start a company that like puts new elevators like on the outsides of old buildings. You just sort of make like a chimney for people, and then
Yeah. That's
That sounds much more sinister.
that's
than
an
what it actually is.
amazing turn of phrase.
people
that
chimney.
is.
Like,
Wow.
okay, wait. So no, like what the first association of people and chimney is either like Bert from Mary Poppins or Santa Claus.
Yeah, fair.
Like those are
I was
both
about to say,
ridiculously
like, very
wholesome. Okay,
Santa
it's not
Claus.
sinister at all.
See, my first thought was it's feeling very Santa Claus because chimneys. Okay, that's a choice.
Yeah, have you seen what was the movie Bloody Christmas or whatever it was called?
Violent Night.
Violent Night, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or you know, Gremlins.
Or Gremlins. But yeah, absolutely, you could do that. And I think there is more than enough time for all of you to have this discussion while you are all shuffling, slithering, humping up to the third floor.
Trying not to destroy the stairs.
Yeah,
on the
trying
way
not to,
up.
Well, that- yeah,
trying not
really,
to
it's-
break the stairs.
Poor Rex.
Yeah, it's the main question is like, does Rex, you know, risk the structural integrity of like the
Oh, he's been
flooring
practicing
itself?
going up and down stairs and going through buildings
Yeah,
and
but just,
doorways and
just
stuff.
the weight, like, is a thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's all about distribution, you
Well,
know?
it depends on what
Okay,
kind of
okay.
stairs these are. If they're wooden stairs, there's no chance. But if they're like
no, they're
concrete
not
or
wooden
something,
stairs. They're solid stone stairs.
okay, then we're fine.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, they don't make high rises out of wood.
Right. So eventually we arrive at the door of one Jane Forden. And let's have
Imagine if you're
everyone.
really into the ethics of this conversation as they're walking up this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're like really into it.
Yeah. Between the gasps and the grunts and the moans. Let's have everyone roll me a level 3 intellect task for perception.
I forget what. So trained means is the eased one?
Yes.
Or is,
Trained
okay.
is one easier. So if you're trained in perception, it's a level 2 task. If you have any ease on intellect and intelligent tasks, that also applies to this.
I did not pass.
Yeah, because I got intelligence power shift. So.
Yeah.
I have nothing towards that stuff. I rolled a 5.
No. Seriously?
I rolled a 6, and I have an intelligence power.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off a building.
You just got here.
Yeah, we just made it up.
We're only 3 floors up. Jumping's just gonna break your legs.
Right, it's just gonna be really uncomfortable.
Like I can't. Like I can move my camera. I can't even make this up.
Well,
Oh, that's 2 discussion.
I hate everything. Why
Yeah,
do you guys
I-
hate me?
I also got a 1 again.
Why?
amazing.
Hey,
Wow.
wow, we all suck.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do we have a single person who passed?
What was, if you had a power shift, what was the threshold?
If you have a power shift, it's just one power shift that you have.
Yeah,
Then you need a 6 or higher.
I rolled a 6. So
Okay,
yeah, I
good.
just
Good.
made it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Just barely good enough.
Almost smart enough.
One person
Luckily-
can do
adequate.
Anything.
Luckily, this particular roll was not so dramatic as to warrant an intrusion for 2 players. I am not going to be making you guys rolling down the
I mean,
stairs or anything.
I assume that there's like a bunch of dust in the hallway, and we're like, ah,
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the
why is it
damn
like
dust.
this?
But Remy, you hear some thumping from within the flat, like some sort of movement noise.
Yeah, I told you it was 11. Well, somebody's in there. We knock? Seems polite.
Yeah.
Be the polite thing to do.
Unless there's a doorbell, and then that.
I mean, this.
But I don't know if
function
there's a
you're
doorbell
hearing,
because I can't see anything.
How I didn't pick it up. How aggressive does it sound? Is it like fighting?
It was difficult for you to discern what it was. Just like there was a thump and then a thump 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 and then it stopped.
All right, I won't break down the door yet.
Not fighting. Could be dancing.
That would be an excellent escalation, yes.
Kill civil people.
Okay, if nobody else is doing anything, then I'm gonna fumble vaguely in the direction of what I think is the door and knock.
Yep. Okay. You knock on the door, and this time around, you guys hear very clearly like a whole bunch of like thump 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 thump. Ow! Ow!
Oh no, there's a kitty!
This better not be like the last apartment we all went into.
What do you have against a dogator?
So much.
I wasn't here for that, that's fine. Does anybody know how to make locks not locked?
Rex just kind of pounds a fist into her hand.
I mean, like ideally not breaking her door, but you know.
Without breaking the door down, yeah.
I usually just convince people to open the door. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, if the door isn't unlocked, I maybe potentially have a cipher that could be used.
Should we just try and open it? Try to handle?
Oh, I mean, sure, that's a good test.
Yeah.
Is the door locked?
The door is locked. Yes.
Okay.
I could try to handle harder.
Or reinforce
Squeeze
it.
it a bit. Like,
Okay, so I have a question. What do you think is more irritating to fix? Having to replace a doorknob or replace like door hinges?
and if you can pick the lock, then
Well, no, I can just make it go away.
oh,
Just that part though, right?
That's right. You have metal death.
Yeah.
I almost went into real semantics and was like, well, it depends on the kind of doorknob.
I mean, so well, actually, is there a deadbolt like lock thing and a doorknob lock, or is it like how many are we talking about here?
Amazing. So, if there are
We were
any
racing
additional like inside security measures, you don't know about them. On the outside, you only see like the one doorknob, which is just like literally like the a knob that turns.
Got it.
It's not a handle. It's a knob, and it
Yeah.
has like a little keyhole. And the keyhole definitely implies that it's like a slightly more modern door and lock slash key system. Like it's
Sure.
not just like a skeleton key. It's more
Sure,
like
sure.
one of
I
those
just
where
wanted
it
to make
doesn't
sure it
matter
wasn't,
how
like-
you insert it in as long as
Yeah. Multiple locks. Okay, then yes. Then Cora will get out her can of silly string that is vaguely sparkly gold and just sort of stick the like tube thing in the lock and just sort of
yep.
squeeze
Yeah.
so it goes in there. Somebody is gonna. I mean, Rex, if you could just like blick it with your finger, because it doesn't actually make it go away. It just makes it very, very easy to make it go away.
Just kind of pushes his finger into it
Yeah.
as gently as he can,
Yeah.
and just like pushes the whole thing all the way through the door.
So you kind of like
Yeah.
you insert kind of like the silly string in there, and as it does, you immediately see it like for a moment expand into the lock and kind of like take over it, and then you see kind of it's almost like the way you see thin ice crystals form across the surface of water, but these are almost a sort of a bronze color as they take over the doorknob, and then it just kind of like stays like that. Even looking at it, you have this impression of it being incredibly brittle. And then as Rex kind of like pushes his finger into it, it just like completely shatters and collapses around his finger. And as it does, it almost falls into like tiny little dust, almost like sand, and you are left with a door that has a hole where there used to be a doorknob, and that now slowly kind of like starts swinging open. Let's have everyone roll a speed-based reflex task.
I mean, if this is to catch a kitty from escaping, like Cora was ready for that. But
It is absolutely to catch one or two cats from escaping.
Oh no.
So we're going to need 2 successes, and because they are cats, this is going to be a level 4 task.
Is my dexterity power shift something I can use in this moment?
Yes, it absolutely is. You have a dexterity power shift, which means that you have an eased task for movement, acrobatics, initiative, and speed defense. So it definitely eases it by 1 down to a level 3. I'm just checking if you have anything else. We're not going to be applying the initiative action penalty. I think that is it. So for you, it would be a 9 or higher that you need. Then for Rex,
You said it's not initiative, right? So I can't.
no,
use
no,
danger
no, no,
sense.
it's not initiative.
I don't think I've got anything towards this then.
I got 50.
Okay, nice.
Cora will
Dice.
absolutely spend five pool to apply 2 effort to this, which is
Okay.
more than half of her speed. Not letting cats escape is important.
Absolutely.
Ooh, I rolled a 16.
I'm just.
Okay, so
I'm
for
spending five pool because I'm definitely gonna roll another one now.
so for Cora, for Cora, we need a 6 or higher. For Rex, we need a 12 or higher, and for Remy,
He also had a dexterity power shield.
okay, so that's a 9 or higher.
And I got a 10.
Okay. Victor got a 15.
I also have a 10.
Nice.
Nice.
Hey, the curse is lifted.
Oh, and I got a
Victor
16,
is always
so I passed 2.
Oh, you passed 2. So
Everybody passed?
between you 4, you all succeed. You're very focused on this. Like, cats do not escape on our watch, and you just immediately grab them. And while the cat in Remy's hands kind of squirms a little bit, and you end up kind of passing her over to Cora, just because the cat doesn't seem to want to be in your presence all too much for some odd reason. Victor and Rex, you both kind of like manage to corral the other cat and pick it up. And these are two white cats, They don't seem to be of any specific pedigree, but they very quickly settle down into just purring in your guys' arms.
Yeah, Rex definitely doesn't touch one of the cats, but he's more of like being a block.
Very efficiently. Yeah, absolutely. So Victor and Cora, you both are holding each a white cat now that is purring, and the way into the flat is open.
What's
Okay.
the flat
Victor
like?
is very, very.
Let's go in and look for cat
concerned
food.
Yeah.
You go in, and it is a relatively small kind of thing. You go into a small hallway that opens up to a big room at the end, and then to the left and to the right are kind of like the, on one side, the kitchen, and on the other side, the kind of bathroom, toilet area. Both are very small. Like, the kitchen is literally just like there's almost no point to it having a door frame and walls. It's just kind of like almost like a closet that has had a kitchen niche put into it. So, and the large room at the end seems to be just like one big area that's both like bedroom and living room and everything. It's just kind of like a very small one room apartment. And you see that a lot of it has been dedicated to the cats. There is a very intricate kind of set of ropes and like cat platforms and stuff all over the place, like hanging little hammocks and everything. Like, it's been very much dedicated to these cats having as much fun as they can, right? And there's like one automatic feeder in the corner, which seems to have like it has by now depleted significantly. It still has some food in it, but it's probably a good timing that you guys arrived at when you did. Yeah, and it's the entire apartment is fairly, apart from all of the stuff that the cats seem to have not knocked over. The entire apartment seems to be fairly orderly and neat.
How long did the news say she'd been missing?
The news said that she has been missing for about 2 to 3 days. And the pastor was missing for a bit longer than that. But it has been concluded that he was missing once they've realized that she was missing.
I guess look for evidence of like if she's packed up, like she got clothes in her closet and stuff.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like you don't find any travel bags for sure, but it doesn't seem like things are missing as such. It doesn't seem like there was a big packing going on. Like, there's no signs of her having packed for a longer trip or anything like that.
Is there food in the kitchen? Food in the
There
fridge?
there is food in the fridge. There seems to even have been at some point something on a plate on the on like one of the tables, but it is by now long gone.
Leave food out when there's cats in there. Come on. Swear.
And
And there's
yeah, there's
signs
definitely
of like break-in or anything. No.
no, there's no signs of a
Someone
break-in.
broken this lock.
Yeah.
Aside from us.
There's no, there's no signs of a break-in. The food in the fridge, most of it is still good and stuff. There's maybe a couple of avocados that are now past the point of being ready to eat. And
Avocados, bloody da.
also, just so we are all aware of the size of the kitchen.
It's like a cupboard, right?
Yeah, like Rex, for you to look into the fridge, you have to open the fridge while standing outside of the kitchen and then step in. Like, there is no room for the door of the fridge to open and close while you are in this space.
Okay. Yeah.
That's not over. Rent prices these days.
Yeah.
So, Cora has a very like business-like demeanor right now because first she has to find a doorstop to keep the door from swinging open, while we're in here, unless somebody is minding it, right? So that we can actually let the cats wander. Then she has to use her phone to Instacart a, you know, door knob assembly and a screwdriver and also whatever brand of cat food she uses. Right. So those things, that's first.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
Once all that's dealt with, then
Right.
she's gonna go. We'll see how other people have progressed.
Yep.
This is the priority.
Okay. We'll have you start.
I made it
organizing
worse.
this. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, you kind of like get to organizing all of that stuff. You find the brand of food that she uses, and you also find like some still unused cans of wet food. Yeah, the cat is currently fairly peaceful in your arms. And it doesn't. There's not like, apart from using furniture, the only thing that's left for you to use as a doorstop in this space that conceivably might work is just a pile of books, because there seems to be a lot of books, but other than that, there's not like a heavy thing that you can put for there to be used as a doorstop.
That's good
I think,
enough.
to be honest,
Just-
like Rex is going to just volunteer to just stand in the doorway because he's probably just going to smash some stuff if he like just trudges around this tiny apartment.
Poor Rex.
okay.
I imagine running off is off the table. They wouldn't have left pet.
Um, Rex, you do notice as you're kind of like shuffling out of the kitchen, you do notice that there's like one of those mocha express pots for coffee in the sink, but it's a fairly large one. Like it's one of those like 20 cup ones, like really really big ones. But there's not anything as far as cutlery, and well, not cutlery, but as far as dishes are concerned, cups, mugs, and the like, that seems to be able to host anywhere near a rational amount of this coffee for there to be sense for it to be made. So, like, the cups that she has, she would have to refill at least 10 times to drink all of this coffee that this pot makes, right? So this is conceivably something that she uses for maybe like a thermos that she fills up for when she goes to work or whatever. But you don't
Like,
find
she's a
the
social
thermos.
worker. Maybe she
Yeah.
takes it to like group sessions
Or
and
like
stuff.
that, yeah. But there would definitely have to be a thermos for that, which you very ostensibly do not find.
Interesting. She must be out with it, I guess, taking the coffee with her.
Maybe she left with the intention of coming back and then just never came.
Is there anything in particular that the books are focused on, or is it just?
A lot of it is I'm missing the word I'm missing the English word, but like subject literature, like it's not like fantasy or fiction or anything. It's like to do
nonfiction.
Yeah, it's like, but it's like not just nonfiction. It's like specific to her field of work, like a lot of social work.
It's like reference work.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Reference books.
Like philosophy books
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that.
So a lot of books like that. A lot of it like that. And then you find, actually, let's make this a roll. Let's make this an intellect roll that relates to any sort of, sure, we could use that. That's fun. We can use your supernatural knowledge training for this. And if we, I think it fits thematically. You'll see why. And I think we
Okay.
have the. Do we have we have investigator. What does investigator do? You must engage your mind,
That's-
body. Oh, that's the
That's the
yeah.
that's the thing that lets me spend other pool for
Yeah,
intellect,
yeah.
even though I keep stacking it all in intellect.
Yeah, absolutely. Sleuth. You're trained in perception, so we can use that as well. So we're gonna ease the task by 2. So there's gonna be a level 2 task after the easement. So you need a 6 or higher to succeed.
Okay, I'll still effort it by 1 then.
Okay.
Which only costs 1
Absolutely,
then, right? Because 2 edge. Okay. Well, good that I did that because I got a 5.
Okay, good. Wow, that precognition is really coming in handy somehow. It's just on a meta level. Yeah, so you kind of like, as you're looking at these books and you're stacking them up so that they become a doorstop, you realize that a lot of these reference books, a lot of these books that have to deal with social work, they are very well used. They're taken care of. They're not like falling apart, but they have the traces of use. They have that kind of like flayed out form, and then the spines have a little bit of a crease in them and stuff. But then you see 3 books they seem to be new, and all of them have been read at least once, but they are very new books. Like, these are recent acquisitions, and all 3 of these books very much differ in topic, because the first stack of books is, like I said, is just like this professional kind of like literature stuff. These 3 books, 2 of them deal with various sorts of like energy work and kind of like healing stuff and stuff like that, like very alternative,
Right.
very esoteric stuff.
Right. Reiki and crystals. And
Yeah, exactly, like Reiki, stuff like that. And then the 3rd book seems to be like a very heavy handed theosophical discussion of modern day saints and miracles and angels and their manifestation within the world.
Cora will point these things out. Like, I think it might be that I mean, either she or somebody that she knows might have gotten some kind of like you know, magic healing power or something, because it looks like she was trying to research that insofar as you could for stuff that was written before the asterisks.
And this is definitely like, you're fairly, because I'm assuming, for my own, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that this was probably a similar approach that Cora had to the situation once she had her experience of the event, that she like immediately started like piling on all of this kind of like knowledge, sort of, so to speak, of these books. This is a very similar approach to the thing, so you're fairly certain in your assessment that this is what happened.
There any bookmarks in those books there? Any specific pages been dog-eared or anything?
There are some. Most of them seem to be focused on specifically healing, because these 2 books that are about like all of this esoteric knowledge, they're very they have a very wide variety of topics that they cover, but the things that she seems to have spent the most time on and actually like highlighted a little bit and did some post-its and stuff is definitely stuff to do with healing. There is a lot of like, there's a post-it with a lot of additional kind of like links or references to Reiki kind of stuff. A lot of just kind of like this idea of basically laying on hands, essentially. Just like this healing via touch or just proximity.
Anyone hear anything about this priest or this lady having powers? They didn't say anything in the news about that, did they?
Not that I heard. But I was gonna like start looking on like social medias and stuff and see if just there's any been general reports maybe of somebody doing things like that, even if it wasn't specific as to who. Because that's the kind of thing that you'd put up, I think, if people were getting miracle healed, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, there's somebody on the social media that has a picture of me every time I go out of the warehouse, so, I mean, people are tracking this shit.
You should really, like, pick one and then charge them Like, give them the exclusive license to take pictures of you. If they're gonna do it anyway, then you might as well get money. So, let's do that. Let's look at the internets while we're waiting for Instacart to show up with door repair
Okay.
materials.
Okay. What are Remy and Victor doing in the meantime?
Remy is not very useful in this situation, so probably just watching and tormenting the cat a little bit because he's a little bit offended that the cat wouldn't, not like physically tormenting, but like trying to show it attention even though it doesn't want it to.
Okay.
Unintentional.
So you're doing the aggressive friendship making with cats.
Yeah.
Like, no,
You
you're
will
gonna
be
be
my
my friend.
Come
Yeah.
here, kitty. Pets.
Cats traditionally not fans of snakes.
These poor cats. Oh, God. I mean, I think Victor would mostly try to, like, be looking around for any, like, clues as to if there's any sign of where she could have gone, looking through the books after they were pointed out, for sure.
Okay.
I think at one point he probably would have tried to pull out his tracker that he has, looked at it and gone, oh, right, this isn't going to be useful to me, and completely abandoned that route because he remembered everybody else was in the room with him.
Fair. Yeah. Okay. Let's have Victor roll me an intellect investigation task. It is going to be a level 4. Let's see. You have an intelligence power shift, so that reduces it to a level 3. Checking if there's anything else. Is learning something new, whether talking to a local to get information or digging through old books to find lore. Sure, I'll give it to you. So we're going to reduce the task by 2, which is going to make it a level 2 task. You need a 6 or higher to succeed.
Okay. That's a 12.
That's a 12. Awesome. With a 12, you kind of like, as you're looking around, you rummage through some stuff, trying to find any clues of anything, right? You do notice, how thoroughly are you searching
I think because Victor is he would be pretty thorough. I know I don't know if it would work in this case, but I think because of magic training, he would also just kind of automatically at this point be kind of like seeing if there are any traces of any kind of like magic or anything.
Fair.
Power.
Yeah.
So pretty thoroughly.
Okay. To the point of moving furniture around? He asked, not leadingly.
Well, he can't do that. He can't do that on his own.
Yes, but that would be something. That would be some way for Remy and Rex to participate.
Rex is definitely accidentally moving furniture around.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just with his ass.
If it gives Remy something to do, then sure.
The fact that the camera zoomed on Adam as he was looking off to the side, right at that moment. Yeah, sure. Okay, so kind of like you go around, you start rummaging and everything, and then you kind of like get stuck with trying to move something around, and then Remy sees it and helps you with that, and you start like going very thoroughly through all of this. And you find, among other things, a journal that has been kept beneath the mattress on the bed frame. And
I almost said, "Oh God, not again." This is feeling too much like the last time we were in someone's apartment. And Victor don't like that.
It's a very mental health conscious city. People journal, people process their emotions, and
She's a social worker. That makes sense.
she's a social worker. She needs to unload sometimes, and
Right.
You find a journal, and it's just like most of it is perfectly like normal stuff that you would expect. Towards the end, though, there seems to be like almost a panicked scrawl, like something about like not having seen Father Weldon and in a while, and worrying about him, and not knowing what's going on, and him not answering, and like her wanting to go out looking for him but not knowing where or how to begin, like kind of like the thing that you guys have successfully done, she had absolutely no way of even beginning to do. So instead, she resorted to journaling about it. Um, and in the meantime, we have the what was it? The quick
Instacart.
Instacart. I was about to say quick basket.
Yes.
The Instacart arrives
It's a quick
with
basket as well.
the doorknob and the doorknob assembly and installation kit. And you said the cat food as well?
And a screwdriver and cat food.
Yeah, absolutely.
Important stuff.
Thank you so much. Sorry, somebody stole our doorknob. Super weird, I know.
Is Rex anywhere to be seen at this moment?
Rex is just in the background, just looking sheepish as this happens.
Okay, the guy like looks at you, looks at Rex, and says, "Somebody stole your doorknob?"
Well, it's not like there's a picture of him on the door.
Maybe there should be.
It would be like, instead of one of those security things, it's just a picture of you glowering.
Yeah, that's yeah. Bye. Have a good day. I guess. And he just like turns and runs. Like he takes a very dignified walk down the first flight of stairs, and then you immediately hear his steps echoing as he's running like 2-3 steps at a time down.
Oh.
Excellent. So, is anybody specifically good at installing doorknobs? Because if not, I'll give it a shot.
I probably shouldn't touch any of that.
I mean, well, the screwdriver handle's probably plastic, but everything else is metal.
Never had to reinstall a doorknob.
Okay, well, it'll be a learning experience for both of us then.
Hey, I'm sure there's got to be building handyman, ain't there?
Right,
We
but
probably don't want to alert the.
we kind of,
building
we kind of
supervisor.
broke in here illegally.
Oh, they don't know that.
I don't think we want.
But
I think
They
we're
probably know
definitely
who
not-
lives here.
Yeah.
Let's not draw attention.
Yeah. That.
I mean, worst case, yes. If we can't get it done, then we can call somebody. But I believe in us.
We really just wanted to look like there's a door handle there. Like if we lock this and she comes back, she's not gonna have the key. So
No, that's awkward too, right? I know. I was gonna leave a note. I've been thinking about it, but there's a lot.
we're making this so complicated.
So while we're installing the new doorknob, was in the journal? Did it seem like did she say anything about like powers or anything? Like, because I was wondering if maybe.
Oh yes,
if it's
that's actually
priest
a
who has powers, or if it's
very
she who
very
has
good
powers.
point
Yeah.
that I absolutely forgot to mention. Very very good that you remind me. There is definitely a thing of her saying at some point she starts roughly around a time period that you would recognize, where she starts saying that like there's been weird stuff happening and she's been seeing like weird glowy things, and that she can like with time she seems to realize that she has this kind of ability of a healing touch, but not just that, but even that her presence soothes people and helps them and helps them heal and stuff like that. And that is also roughly the time where she kind of goes up from just 10 hours a week to probably 50 hours a week at the church hospital. And
Kind of handy for a social worker.
yeah, and she definitely kind of stops writing about it too much after saying that she'd found like the books and stuff, because she then starts also mentioning that she sees like various reports on TV and stuff, and like there's this definitive feeling of her not wanting to be in the public eye, not wanting any fame or attention or anything, because she's afraid of like what might happen if people caught wind of it. So she tries to be subtle about it, and then she also seems to have decided to stop writing about it as part of that.
And there's nothing I have to ask this because I think it's a valid question to ask. There's no like vague, because I have to say this because the book had me concerned. There's no like vague writings about how she's like a new god or something and like gonna start a
No.
cult. There's no
No,
like
no.
culty
There's no
vibes,
indication
right?
of megalomania. No, there's
Well,
no
on
no
that
Good.
thread, like,
I feel like
is
it's
there mention of the
understand
pastor?
why I have to ask this question. Say that again?
Along that thread, does she mention the pastor like specifically rather than just the church hospital? Like,
She does mention having talked to him about it and him not being able to provide her with any like satisfactory answers.
you see,
Like,
healing powers is exactly the sort of thing that a church may take issue with, right?
Or be excited about, but yeah,
That's
it
why.
depends
That's why
on.
I asked my question. Because like she's a book on like angels coming down in human form and healing people. So I had my concerns about what that would do to a
absolutely
church.
fair.
So that's why I asked my question. Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out why the, like, if she, like, I don't know, if she went into hiding or something, or maybe she got kidnapped, right? Both of those things make sense as to what's going on with her, but I don't really know why the priest is missing yet, unless like he got weird and then like kidnapped her or something. Although he disappeared first, but then maybe he was just, I don't know, he was doing a priest stalkery thing. This is all very concerning, but I don't want to cast aspersions. I don't even know this person, but you know.
I think the priest is maybe the next person that we need to investigate. Then, hey,
Yeah.
Certainly no.
Did anything come of the social media search? Besides, like,
In terms of
not just on
reports of
but, like,
random
on the
healing.
tweets.
Nothing in particular, because she seems to have really gotten the hang of being subtle enough about it. But there has been a spike in converts um, from basically the pool of people who got better while at the hospital.
she's like accidentally started a cult, right?
Kind.
My concerns about both sides were valid.
Like, there's definitely no one who is who is bringing it in connection with her. No one's saying like there was this woman who touched me and everything got better, but I heard it. But there is a definitive implication that they're all like, oh no, this church, and I went praying and like absolutely. There's definitely, she wasn't as subtle, or at least as able to control her ability as she may have wanted to, because there's a number of cases where terminal illnesses have been recovered from.
There's no like televangelist like videos of her being like, "I heal you."
No, no. There's definitely no sort of I banish the illness demon from your body. None of that. No.
Could.
Like, it seems that if there is any, I think you could freely draw the conclusion that if there is any sort of cult-like behavior or any sort of deification of her, it is not coming from her. She does not want that. She is not involved in it in that way. She just wants to help.
Has the church been like playing it up at all? Like the church social media?
No, it doesn't seem to have been. And indeed, there's it's kind of difficult to say from what you can see, but the church itself is not particularly present into social media, and whenever a question of like, oh, this terminal illness got healed, like what did you do and how did you do it, and do you have a novel treating method or whatever, happened, the church would just kind of sort of deflect and say, they're just doing the work of God, and it's all in the Lord's hands, and they are not at kind of they're not the cause of these miraculous healing episodes.
I find the lack of capitalizing on it more suspicious than if they had been.
Weird, yeah, a little bit. But some churches.
I mean, if she's not being obvious about it, then yeah, maybe they just haven't like identified it as a specific thing, as opposed to just things are going well right now. Okay. Well, so this is an important test anyway. Oh, by the way, remind me if I'm ever gonna use a widget, like what are we calling them? A relic. Like if I'm ever gonna use a relic, remind me that I want somebody to video it, cause that was really cool, and now we don't have video of it, cause it's important to document these things. But anyway, I digress. I want to try to wayfind the priest now, I guess, because if the same things happens, then there's definitely something hinky going on as far as like trying to keep them specifically from being found, as opposed to just her, or it was a random weird thing, which it might have just been a random weird thing. It's really hard to tell.
Go ahead. What was that? I said it was a level 6 for her, right?
You did.
The priest is going to be a level 5.
Okay.
So
down to 2. Down to 2 with the shifts.
Yes.
I will happily effort that.
You want to.
Yes, I will effort it all the way down.
Yeah.
I mean, my intellect pool of 23 is now at 5. This burns a lot of candles at all the ends.
Oh yeah. It absolutely does. Sorry, didn't mean to be as much of a devil there.
No, I was definitely debating.
I twist my French mustache at you, but.
Let's just hope you don't take any intellect damage this session.
Yeah, no. Why would that happen? Yeah, so you kind of like. You try to focus on the priest, and you just kind of like think, you're trying to find the priest, and God damn, it's been a couple of days, and it's very annoying because you're currently being distracted by this kind of like whiff from the kitty litter of the cats doing all of their business, and it's just like, it's such a shame that there's no kind of cat toilet or something like that, and like just some efficient plumbing for cats and everything. But then again,
you can automate the feeding. You can't automate the toileting. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, you can, but it's expensive.
There's a lot of there's a lot of areas of town where actually the plumbing also doesn't work, and just the sewers are such like there's like whole swaths of the sewers that are not even being used at all, and they're not even being. Oh, that's probably where the priest went.
Okay, that seems reasonable. Yeah. So again, Cora's eyes Cora's eyes glow, and then at this point we'll say that one of them is a smiley face, and the other one is I don't know, some sort of like dull rock, like uninspiring marble.
Wait, does Cora have emoji eyes?
Cora has random eyes when she uses her.
Cora has one-armed bandit eyes. She when she wakes up in the morning, and in general, her eyes are very strikingly blue, like a solid,
entirely
yeah,
blue.
like a
Yeah.
solid electric blue. And then the more she uses her ability, the weirder it gets.
Okay.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in the sewer. Don't know why. That's a weird place to be. But like there's parts of the sewers that people don't really go into and they're not used much. So I guess it'd be secluded. Gosh, I hope it's no. That was a train station. That was the subway, right? That's different than sewers. So
Yeah.
probably won't be.
Different.
Okay, good. Not related to the love interest.
I
Sewers
sure
are pretty
hope not.
Like, any particular spot in the sewers?
Oh,
'Cause
yeah,
that
definitely.
covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, I mean we'll have to go find a way in, but then yeah, for sure.
All right. I don't think a normal manhole is gonna cut it, but I'm sure we can find a larger access.
For sure. With the lock in place and the kitties safely taken care of, with more food in the feeder.
So I'm gonna leave a post-it with my phone number on it by the doorknob, I guess.
I was about to ask in the flat.
Yeah, it's like key. It's like I'll just sort of draw a picture of a key and a question mark, and then I'll put my phone number right.
Okay. Yep. Fair.
Like she'll know what it means.
Absolutely.
Other people will certainly be able to call my phone number randomly, but we'll deal with that later.
I'm gonna make a note.
Added to 47 spam.
Oh.
It's fine.
Sorry, Cora's probably got dozens of
Oh.
mobiles at this point.
Cora
I
likes
guess
talking
that
to
he has a
telemarketers.
yard.
Okay. And so you guys head out, and I think this is a good point for us to take a small break so everyone can stretch and hydrate and do all of the things that we need to do. So we are going to be. Does 10 minutes sound good, or would you like 15?
I'm
fine.
fine with either.
10 is good. Okay, we're going to go on a short 10-minute break, and we will see everyone back in 10 minutes, which is 7 after the hour. See you
Right.
in a beat.
Catch you in a minute. Actually, that sounds wrong.
More of a Thanksgiving thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Hello and welcome back. Yeah. I think we're back. Hello. Are we back? I hear myself. Somebody's.
Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
I think we're back.
I love the way Adam's camera does like a dramatic zoom in at just the right
Yeah.
moments.
Absolutely, the camera knows its stuff. The camera
See,
absolutely.
that
knows
would be
its
a
stuff.
valid use of AI.
Yeah, right.
That's technically what they assert that this is. I don't think
I
it
guess,
actually
yeah.
is, but
Welcome
It's
back.
not detecting the mood; it's detecting like movement or something.
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Anyway.
It's mostly trying to
Yeah.
keep my face with it.
We are going to pick up after the group has contacted Steven once more to drive them. This time, according to Akora's instructions, which are relatively convoluted, and some of you are fairly certain that they take you past the same spot several times. But
Almost certainly, at some point, it's like follow that car,
yeah,
and then until I tell you to stop.
yep, yep. But like any good brainwashed NPC, Steven does not complain and just follows. And
Gently coerced.
yes, absolutely. Ideal changed PC, NPC. He does not question it and follows the instructions. And eventually, you guys are left by Steven, who drives off perhaps a bit faster than the zone warrants it, leaving you in front of this relatively large gate that seems to go immediately downward. This seems to have been some sort of big, grand sewer access thing for like big. Sorry.
Adam's been replaced.
Yeah.
He's a dog now.
Fine.
For
Seems like an upgrade.
bigger teams and for when they needed to put like some machinery or whatever down into the sewers, and this is
Yeah.
kind of like that sort of access point.
Heavy equipment.
Yeah. The gate itself doesn't. It seems to just be locked. It doesn't have like extra chains and padlocks and all of the stuff on it. It's just a locked gate.
No one cares if we break a gate to a sewer, right?
I mean, it's not like a super residential area, is it?
No.
Okay, yeah. Because the only downside is like kids wander in there if it's not locked, but it's probably fine.
I can jam it back shut if you want me to after we get through.
I mean, that's probably fine. If somebody legitimately needs to use it, then they'll have the tools to deal with that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I like it. It's a plan. Okay, because I don't have any more silly string. That only works one.
Yeah, Rex is just
Well,
gonna
it's all
go and
you.
like use his all his stony muscles and bend open the gate.
Okay. Rex uses his metal bending abilities and opens the gate. It takes a little while. I'm not going to make you roll for it. This is easy enough, especially because you have both heat
I
and
have so
strength
much
on
that
your
does
side.
this,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And it's like it lets out that melancholy whine of metal that doesn't want to that doesn't want to bend but has to. But eventually you kind of bend it out, and you've done this a number of times so that by now you're actually getting skilled at bending it in such a way that you literally just part the bit that is blocking the opening function of the gate. So you literally just like pull out the little thing from the other side, right? And you just kind of like part those and the gate swings open.
Precision bending. Nice.
Precision bending. Yep.
I'm starting to get a handle on like the you know, people who suddenly gain a lot of strength. They don't understand how strong they are. Rex is getting there.
Yeah. It's surgical B&E. So you head down the stairs, I assume.
Uh-huh.
Yes, there's more stairs. But these are easy enough to navigate. They are flat and wide, and they provide enough of a horizontal movement for Victor to get rested, enough of a horizontal surface for Rex to actually not have to worry about stepping on like 5 steps and losing balance, and they're wide enough for Remy to actually kind of like very comfortably slither down without having to worry about it.
We are the least mobile.
They are
I mean, is
of an
going
uncomf-
downstairs
Go ahead.
actually tiring for Victor? Like, is downstairs also bad? Just because?
I mean, I'm saying this as somebody who also has a really difficult time with stairs because I have a chronic illness. Honestly, it depends. Sometimes going downstairs is worse
Oh, wow. Okay.
than going upstairs because of because because it's downwards, you get
'Cause
kind of
you're
like propelled
catching
by the
yourself.
forward motion,
Yeah,
and so there's
gotcha.
not enough time to really catch yourself. So you have to be extra like slow and cautious and careful.
Okay. Okay.
But I think Victor's recovered enough from his tumble down the hill from the other section that he's like he should be fine. We took a lot of elevators last session, so I think he's like fine enough to like do stairs this time. He's had a break.
It's
So
a
he
rough
should be
life,
fine.
though.
Yeah. They are strangely of an wide and flat enough formation that Cora is actually finding them uncomfortable to navigate. But these are not normal stairs; they're just annoying. But you guys manage to get down there fast enough, and you see that as soon as you're down there, you're in kind of like a tunnel that just goes for a few feet up and then turns to the side. And this is a completely dried out area. Like you already have that sort of basin for all of the nasty goop stuff, but there is no nasty goop stuff because this has just not been used in probably decades. It was probably part of some city project that did or did not end up either working out or being funded enough, so it's just like closed down and that's it. And you kind of keep going, following this road, and as soon as you turn the corner, you see that it goes for another couple of meters, and then it just opens into this big cavernous kind of part. And within this big cavernous part, you already see off in the distance like silhouettes of people standing with kind of their backs turned to you.
Yeah.
Is
Do
there
you have
any
a big
sign of,
number
like-
on that?
From where you are standing, you probably see like 6 or 7 people. But it's kind of dark and not really easy to distinguish shapes at a great distance.
Does it seem like it's some sort of like homeless village or anything down here, or is it just people just standing around?
It seems to be just people standing.
Yeah, you guys had to use the C word.
It was a legitimate
no
question
such
to ask. I don't know what you want from me.
Oh, that's
Fine.
Especially because this is something that Victor would be like, "Oh no, I am seeing signs that I am scarily familiar with. This is information I have to know." for my mental well-being.
So Cora thinks for about 3 seconds about being sneaky and then looks over at everyone else, and then it's like, guess we're walking up.
Does anybody react as we enter or like
No.
move in? Or are they moving or are they like?
They seem to be
Scarily stationary.
swaying a little.
Oh, great. That's super good sign.
Totally
Everything is very
normal sewer social gathering. It's-
Yeah, you know, just a regular sewer cold gathering.
Well,
Are
let's
there
go see
light
what's
sources
going
in
on.
here?
There are no light sources in here, no.
Okay.
Phone.
Now there are light sources.
I was gonna say, can Rex like just put a gentle glow on?
Yeah, sure.
A glow up.
Absolutely.
You just see Rex just kind of like hold his breath and, and just does a bit more glow.
Sudden smell of sulfur. No, there's like this reddish glow that extends from Rex, and then Cora's phone also kind of like extends more light, and they combine into this weird sunset orange that fills this hallway and a part of the cavern. And as it does, you realize that it's not just 6 people. There's probably like 30 or 50 people that you see here. And they're all kind of just standing and with their backs turned towards you, but they seem to be they're not all standing parallel to each other. They are almost standing like in a sort of a circular formation and watching all the same point. Like if you were to extend the way they're facing, it would all converge in a single point somewhere off on the other
Stadium
side.
style.
Yeah, exactly. And
Is the swaying synchronized?
the swaying is not synchronized, no, and not everyone is swaying. Some are just standing still, and they seem to have they have the most various. They don't have uniform clothing or anything like that. They also have very different kinds of clothing. A lot of it seems to be kind of the rags or the multiple layers that you come to associate with homeless people fashion. But there are some who seem to be in suits. There are some who seem to be kind of in like maybe there's a couple who also have like doctors' coats, like the white medicinal
lab
worker coats. Yeah. So it's kind of disparate. Dominantly rags and like multiple layers, but disparate clothing.
We
Oh,
interrupted
since
the
there's light in that, is it a natural cavern, or is it just a bigger in the sewer space? That's
No,
been
it's
constructed?
it's actually a very intricately made, big sewer area.
Okay.
Like
like-
imagine the way like gothic fancy sewers appear in like Batman cartoons.
Sure.
So wait, just to confirm, there was no light in this place before. All these
No.
people were just standing in the dark,
Yes.
focusing on this one point.
Yes.
There
This
might be
is
some light
weird.
up there. Well, let's go see what's going on.
Yeah, let's go
Drugs
find
are a
out what
hell
they're
of a
looking
thing.
at.
Okay. You come up and like how do you want to go about this? Do you just like push through the crowd or
super casually, like
yeah?
if we get, I guess when we get right up to where people are, we'll have a little more information about whether it seems like an awesome idea to,
Yeah.
you know, try to get.
Yeah, you get up to where people are. You're about maybe a meter away from like the first person that you would be able to now like touch. And they don't seem to react.
I was gonna ask, yeah.
If we gently like nudge someone out of the way so we can get past, any reaction?
Do you?
Yeah,
I
Rex.
hated that. Oh my god.
Wow, that was so menacing.
Go. That was so sinister and awful. Anyways,
But it was just a completely neutral tone of voice.
that's what made it sinister and awful.
I'm imagining Rex is probably standing at the back of the group
Yep.
as we're approaching. So, like, if somebody else wants to try that first, otherwise Rex will kind of move forward.
I mean, I feel like saying "excuse me" as a good
Yeah.
starting point. Excuse me. Hello. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Was that the noise person?
Yes.
Okay. I think they might be from New York.
That was kind of nice. How y'all doing? Y'all all right? Are we late for the party? Did you bring enough for everybody?
I am at this point going to offer an intrusion.
The last time that we had a scenario like this and an intrusion happened, nothing good happened. I'd like to remember.
That's the point of intrusions.
I will take it.
It's not good. It's
You take the intrusion? Okay. You take the intrusion, you get an experience point. You may instantly also give an experience point to one of your fellow players.
I will give one to Victor for having to do 2 sets of stairs.
Thanks, I appreciate
Very-
that.
very
I
helpful.
definitely thought you were gonna say for having to deal with 2 different cults, but
That too.
It won't be the last, I'm sure.
So, Remy, you kind of like slither up, and 2 things become apparent to you. One of the things is that there is this kind of like weird smell, and you kind of go, "Excuse me, what's going on? Did you bring enough? Is this a party? Are we late?" And as you're talking, you kind of like are trying to detect where the smell comes from, and you look down and you realize that all of these people are standing like a little bit lower than you guys, and you realize that this lower bit actually has like a little bit of water in it, like that just hadn't been drained. It's not filthy water, but it's just like remnant water of like when the water like navigation system was being checked and everything. And it seems like their feet have started rotting in this water. And as you kind of look at this and get distracted, you notice movement, and as you look up, you see the first person whom you'd kind of like been the nearest person has turned around and looks at you with these kind of completely white eyes and this sallow, sunken, greenish face, and they lunge at you and bite your arm.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was
That
that kind of
escalated quickly.
You are going to take 2 points of might damage.
Is that affected by armor? I forget how that works.
Yes, you do reduce it by your armor.
So I take 0 points.
Oh, you take 0 points. Okay. As that makes it better for you. You kind of like you see them bite at your arm, and as they do, they kind of like clamp down, and their teeth just kind of like slide off of a scaled part of your arm, and you realize that they leave behind like a weird greenish substance, like smeared across the scales.
You brush twice a day. That's nice.
Is it just that one person, or is other
That
people?
one person now seems to be very interested in biting Remy.
Wouldn't be the first.
The others haven't turned around as of yet.
I thought we were done with weird zombie creatures.
Yeah, I mean, first off, watch where you step. Secondly, they're kind of bitey.
Are you counting the alien AI people as zombie creatures?
Well, the trees had zombies.
Oh, okay.
There
Well,
was
sorry.
different
Yeah, I wasn't there for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, zombie. So that's a thing now, I guess. Hmm.
Can we see what they're all looking at?
From I'm gonna say if Remy, because Remy is like the closest to them now, if Remy were to get up higher, like to prop yourself up on your tail part of your snake tail body part, um, to get a better vantage point, you would be able to see what they're staring at.
Yeah, I think
So
you would do that.
so, are we in initiative now, or
Not quite yet, because
okay?
this person is very interested only in Remy at the moment, and they can't
Okay.
actually do damage to him, which is why
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
counting it
Okay.
as initiative, because it's basically an ineffectual gnawing that's going on.
Sure. Is uh Cora is very interested in determining if this is just trying to distinguish this from just being a weird thing that's going on where people are made weird, or this person is actually dead and doesn't have any particular ethical agency.
Hmm. How would you like to go about determining that?
Oh, oh, you know,
Blood samples.
with I guess my sense of the weird and supernatural knowledge and hand waving.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, so let's first have a perception intellect roll of level 3. So that's a 9 or higher for Remy. And for Cora, we are going to have a. This is going to be like an investigative roll. We can apply. Yeah, sure. We'll apply your supernatural knowledge. We'll apply your perception. Um, that is going to reduce it to a level 2 task.
Okay.
So
Um,
you need a 6 or higher.
Okay. I'm gonna spend just one
Mhm.
pool to bump it down to.
I was gonna
needing
say I
3 or
also
higher.
could technically use a cipher if anybody needed it.
You're gonna have
I
to be more
have-
specific.
I have a cipher called Effort Enhancer. For the next hour, a user can apply one free level of effort to a non-combat task without spending points from a pool.
Wow.
So I
Fancy.
could try to use that and help out if needed.
I would not be able to predict who is going to be able to make the most use of that. So you're
True.
at your leisure. But I will do that.
Yeah, some of these
Excellent.
ciphers I'm like,
It is a 9. Everything is fine.
It is a 9. Everything is fine. Um, these are definitely reanimated corpses of the Walking Dead.
I don't like that we keep running into this.
What did
I don't
you
like
get?
the
It
Remy?
wasn't so much healing. I rolled a 14.
Okay. You kind of like rise up and look, and you notice a figure kind of like just kneeling down, holding their head, in kind of like a desperation kind of position on like a slightly elevated platform. She seems to be wearing some sort of a dress of some sort, and there's a backpack next to her, and she seems to be like she's out of the water, so she's not having any of these adverse effects of spending time in the water, but she seems to just be like almost in a kind of like a stupor or maybe a sleep. Like she definitely seems to be moving occasionally and like breathing, but not much more than that. And she has, from here you can see that she has dark, long dark hair, but not much more detail.
Yeah, there's somebody over there. Presumably not like the bitey ones.
Is how is the number of people comparing to the size of the space? Like, are they taking up most of the space, or is there like empty space around the edges?
They are taking up most of the space in the water, but there is a elevated ledge that they don't seem to be standing on that one might conceivably scoot along very carefully without coming into contact with them.
Right. Remy seems fine, but Victor, Cora, maybe you stay behind me.
That seems like a good plan. I'm gonna try a thing which is a test, which is a further test of ethical agency, but also maybe a problem solver. We'll see what happens because of I can think of a very gross and easy way. Anyway, Cora is gonna try to use gift of appeasement on the zombie that's trying to bite Remy. And she's not gonna look super close at whatever she pulls out of her bag.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that.
But
Like, yeah, you
she's kind of hoping it's nothing, honestly, that it doesn't work, but that the thing doesn't actually have any wants. But
Could be brain.
let me just see the exact wording of this.
She's definitely going to start wearing gloves if this is a.
So we have, you conjure a trifle that can fit in one hand and will please a creature within immediate range. The object is impractical and inexpensive, but delightful to the creature. Examples include their favorite kind of cookie, a small crafted coffee beverage, or a paper origami of their favorite animal. You don't know what the spell will create, but you know it will please them if you give it as a gift. If the creature spends 1 minute appreciating the object, such as eating the cookie, drinking the coffee, or examining the origami, they gain an asset on one task of their choosing within 1 hour. In addition to normal options for using effort, you can use effort to affect more creatures. Each level of effort affects one additional creature action per target to initiate. So you
technically it could be like sharpened dentures.
Yeah.
Like make it easier to bite Remy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, it's supposed to be impractical, right?
Let me just make a quick note.
Yes.
So you kind of you reach in and you feel a Tupperware box.
Oh no.
Okay, that's better. That's better. Just feeling the whatever. Okay. What is in the Tupperware box?
It seems to be like some sort of gelatinousy gray sludge.
Yep, that's close enough. Fine, sure, great. I'm gonna go ahead and open that, and then just sort of interpose between
Okay.
the thing and Remy, like hold it under its nose, like, ooh, smells like that.
Yep. you kind of do, and this creature kind of like stops and moves over and looks, and just goes, and kind of like starts shambling towards the Tupperware box of gray matter.
Does it come out of the water?
It does. It does step out of the water. It doesn't so much come out of the water as it stumbles over the step, face plants onto the ground, and then slowly shambles back up to its feet, and then continues shambling towards the Tupperware.
Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and set that down,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can go off in another direction, and we can just let him deal with that, right?
Does it look like we can? Is there a way to approach the woman without traversing the nasty water? Can we?
You
There's
can,
a ledge, right?
yeah, there's like a little bit of a ledge on the sides. I'm gonna say it's it's
Might
probably
be-
gonna be difficult for everyone but Cora. Just because
That's
I
fair
mean,
enough, yeah.
honestly, Glitch, I would leave it up to you whether a ledge scooching movement is within or without Victor's
I mean,
approved modes of ambulation.
when I go based off of this stuff, I go based off of what I know I physically can do because I also have. I'm playing this character with a disability because I too deal with this stuff, right? Representation, we love. So when I think about this stuff, I think about like what I personally could do with all of my leg issues that have been happening lately, and what like my legs and knees could tolerate. And I think ledge shuffling would be okay. I think I could make
because
that work.
it's not like a difficult balancing act, right? Like it's not like you have 10 centimeters of space. Like you can
Yeah.
relatively comfortably set a foot down as long as it's not size 12. But you would have to kind of like scoot along with like a sideways movement. It wouldn't be It wouldn't be a walk.
I think Victor could make that
Yeah.
work. Just,
So
like, shuffle
can
along using
do you think if like me and Victor go on the ledge thing, if you two like, you know, can maybe just sort of like, I don't know, go on the opposite side, and then if things get icy, maybe like try to attract their attention in that direction so that maybe we can get her out, or we still don't really know what's going on, but I'm trying to plan ahead here.
I'm kind of worried about letting you two go off on your own with these bitey guys. Maybe
they
I
seem
can just
real
be nearby.
But
Yeah.
you can,
Certainly not
if you want,
happy.
because if you can't go on the ledge, then I guess you'd have to be sort of going along the wall next to the ledge, which means you're gonna have to be pushing them, and I don't know if that's gonna excite their interest. Maybe they won't want to bite you because you're not made of like meat.
Maybe. I could just be close by to the ones that are nearest to where you are, just in case.
Whatever you feel is best. I am not a person who is equipped to do any kind of violence, so.
Remy, I could get you close. You want me to throw you?
We've reached levels of shenanigan that D is now disappointed in us.
That is
Keep
a
going,
question
guys.
I had never considered. Sure, why not? I definitely don't want to go in the nasty drink, and I ain't no good at fighting, so might as well be
I've
over
never
yonder.
used a snake as a javelin before, but I'm sure it's doable.
Don't drop me in the water.
Hey, come on, you're a snake.
Yeah, but I have standard.
Fair. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So, Cora is going to immediately use comfort and encouragement on Rex, with some advice about large snake person throwing. So, like, try for like a low arc, right? Because maybe sliding at the end is going to be better than just like a thump, right? And it's a high ceiling in here, but you don't want to arc it. Okay.
Try to work out underarm, overarm. What's the best?
Yeah. Maybe sidelong,
It's
right?
like a shot put. You just whip them around.
Just a hammer throw him.
That's the hammer throw. Yeah. Okay, but that's the gist. Which means that you have an asset on,
Okay.
on the nonsense.
Okay. What is the timing of this? Are you trying, like, are you throwing Remy immediately, or are you
I was
waiting
gonna
for
say, do you
Cora and
wanna-
Victor to?
Yeah, wait for us to get closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a good shout, especially like it might create a distraction.
Yep.
Yeah, might sort
Okay.
of excite interest again.
So Cora and Victor start scooting along the ledge. And it's relatively easy. It functions with relative ease. It doesn't like require a particular roll or anything. But I am going to offer an intrusion.
Well, obviously, yes. Sorry.
Oh, I cannot wait to see how this ends.
You can't shoot down an intrusion. It's just not
No.
allowed.
No.
No.
Okay, so you receive immediately an experience point, and you may reward one more experience point to someone else.
Well, we're gonna give it to Rex for a reason which is totally rational and is not about just making it even.
Fair.
I like that we have to rationalize it every time, but we have run out of reasons.
I mean, yes. We're all just
So, like,
deeply
I'm
nice
not-
people.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very nice people to each other. And Cora, are you leading or are you going after Victor?
I'm assuming that I was leading.
Okay.
But if Victor has strong feelings otherwise, then
Nine.
I think Victor has strong feelings, but not about leading.
And then not about who's leading and who's not. Strong
No.
feelings are more
okay,
important.
that's fair. Yes.
Yeah, so you scooch along the ledge and you reach a point where you kind of like step weird and you realize that you've stepped on something that used to belong to someone and it is fairly slippery. and your foot kind of like gives out in under you. So I need you to roll me a level. Let's make this a little bit interesting. Let's make it a level 4 speed task, relating to reflexes, balancing, things like that.
Fascinating. So I guess we will just spend 3 speed then and bump that down by 1.
Okay.
But that's all I got really.
Alrighty. So that is a 3. So you need a 9 or higher for this, please.
Very exciting. It's a 15. Yay!
It's a 15. Nice. So you kind of like you slip out, and I'm not gonna be so mean and offer another intrusion, but you slip out beneath it, and you immediately like flail out. And Victor, you see this happening, and immediately you kind of like you just extend your arm with the cane, and Cora manages to grab onto the cane and just like keep balance. And there's like this precarious moment of a couple of eternal seconds where you're just floating above the water and the zombies in this kind of like slanted position until Victor slowly kind of like guides you with his cane back towards a balanced position along the wall.
Are you good?
I'm good now. It's good. There's the thing.
Yes.
Don't step on the thing. I'm not looking at the thing. Just don't step on it.
Just keep...
Although I think at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and use a recovery roll for Cora.
That is
It's the
absolutely
first time
fair,
I've
yes.
ever gotten
Fair.
any pools down low enough where it seems alarming, and now I have 2 that are down low enough to be alarming.
Yep.
She does have one of her power nonsenses is she gets a free 1 action.
Oh, 1 extra recovery roll per shift, 1 edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to use 1 or 2?
I'll go ahead and use. I guess there's no downside in using 2. Like,
No.
okay, then yes, I'll just go ahead and do.
I mean, the only downside in using 2 at this point is that you will not have an action recovery roll for later. But like whether you get downed now or later, if you get downed.
Yeah. Better to deal with my business.
Yeah.
So that's a 6. That's good, and that's a 4. So
12.
12.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to put it all in the same pool for?
No, you
Like,
each time you
I
get
can-
any recovery roll, you can
however
spread
I
it
want.
any way you like. You just can't raise a pool above its maximum naturally.
Nice. Okay, so we'll fill speed all the way back up, and then put the other 4 back into intellect.
All right.
You have the opposite of me. I've got 1 less action recovery thing.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I have no action recovery.
Yeah, but
Why?
Because I'm made of stone.
Okay.
It takes me longer
it's
to recover. so I only have to tend in one.
It's the drawback of.
Yeah.
it's the drawback of like having a non-organic body essentially. Like it's they in order to not make it far too difficult for him to heal, they didn't make it so that he had to find like literally a stonemason who's gonna chip bits of him back on. It's just like it's difficult,
It's
so
just-
he
just
has 1
slow.
recovery roll
Okay.
less. Yeah. Like
Okay,
he has
that's
to
fair.
lie down and gather dust essentially.
Okay. So Cora takes a few seconds
Yeah.
to like let her breathing slow down and be like, okay. Make sure that there's nothing on her shoe, like which she will do by like scraping it against the wall without looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then we're good.
Okay.
To continue.
Yeah. You guys continue. It takes a couple more minutes, but eventually you reach like this platform where this woman is kind of like kneeling down.
We, I guess, look back at at Ramin
Yeah,
Rex
the others are
expectantly.
At the snake slingshot.
You ready, Remy?
This is spectacularly.
What is I'm
So
never gonna
fun.
be?
Okay, so we are having Rex throw Remy across the room onto the platform.
Yep.
It has to be a base level 6.
Okay.
It has to be a base level 6.
Okay.
Too much stuff can go wrong.
I mean, worst case, you can crowd surf, right?
Yeah. Strength power shift applies, so that's down to a 5.
So I'm gonna do Muscles of Iron.
Okay,
Spend 2 more points for that and ease it.
so that's a 4.
And then I will spend what is it? If I do 2 effort would cost me. I've got 2 edge in might, so 2 effort would cost me 4. Is that right?
No, it would actually cost you 3. Because your total...
Three minus your edge.
Yeah.
And then the other ones are 2 each.
Effort costs 3 for the first one and 2 for each additional one that you apply.
Okay.
And then you reduce the entire cost by your edge. So you would have 3 plus 2 is 5, minus 2 edge is 3.
Gotcha. Okay. So in total, I'm spending 5 might to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings
Plus,
it down
remember-
to a level 3.
You're down to
level two.
level 2, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then you have encouraging snake throwing tips from Cora.
That is true,
Oh, yeah.
which also eases it by...
Asset that gives you
Yeah.
1 more ease.
Okay,
So
we should
you
get a
need
3.
to
Come
roll
on,
a
guys.
3 or higher.
What could possibly go wrong?
I rolled a 3.
Okay, good.
Oh, no, three's good enough.
Okay, good.
Three's good enough.
Yeah, we'll
That's
That would have been a
That's good,
terrible
that's-
time for a 1.
That is good enough. Yeah, so you kind of you pick up. First off, it takes a while because there is this weird and intricate waltz of trying to figure out how you grab Remy and hold him for a throw, right? Because
Center of
Careful.
gravity.
yeah, it's not as simple as like holding a football, right? And you kind of like decide, okay, like a shot put thing by grabbing him by his tail and spinning around is not gonna be a thing, and you kind of like you find sort of a way, and you start spinning around, and then at some point where you gauge it correctly, you throw him, and much like a Nerf projectile that has had a ribbon tied to it, Remy floats through the air, tail serpentining through it, as much like the ancient snake gods of the Aztecs, he gracefully surges above a sea of zombies, landing not at all gracefully onto the platform.
Right, when you say sea of zombies, like, how many are we talking here? Are we, like, I don't, like,
It was
several
30, it was
rows
30,
of these
30
things?
plus. Yeah.
So 30 or 50 was what you saw when you kind of like illuminated a certain limited area. There's probably 100 here, if not more.
Jeez, okay, right.
Yeah, halfway
what
when Remy is
is
halfway
that
through his arc, Cora once again regrets not having had her like phone on video. Would have really been good to document that, but
Well, I'm also
would
imagining
it-
him going like from the glowy like illumination of Rex into the darkness, into the like the ceiling of this place, and then just disappearing into the middle.
You just, hear it a moment later. It's like, oh, damn.
I just
that
can't get over the description of like the Aztec snake gods.
That's great.
Quetzalcoatl.
Yep.
At this point, Rex kind of stands back. He's like, "I'm not sure what to do now. I guess I'll stand back here and wait to see if anything happens that I need to intervene in."
Yeah.
Watches the zombie that's chowing down on the grey matter and like steps away slowly.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
Awkward shuffle back.
Yeah.
So, I guess we should go see how Remy and then also the woman is doing.
Mhm.
First, we have to solve the problems we caused, and then we.
Yeah.
solve the
Right.
other problems.
So Remy, you're fine. You're a bit banged up just from like landing and sliding a little bit in the ball, but nothing too horrifying. Not an experience you would necessarily wish to repeat in that form. But yeah, You have successfully sailed above the zombies.
So now that I'm closer to the individual, can I make out more of what they look like?
Yeah, absolutely. She looks perfectly normal, honestly. Like normal coloration of skin, seems to be perfectly normally breathing and everything. And at all of this commotion, and with you like now being so close to her, she kind of finally looks up from where she's had her face kind of in her hands, and she like looks for a moment very kind of confused and taken aback, and then goes, "What? What? You're you're not one of them."
If by one of them you mean the body folks, no, I mean I've been known to bite various other reasons. Are they friends of yours? Because they didn't seem very nice.
She starts crying.
That's,
Are we also there? Or are
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah,
still,
yeah.
like,
You guys are there.
getting off of the ledge?
No, you're there. You're there.
Um,
You probably stayed on the ledge while Remy was midair, just to make sure that he didn't
Yeah.
like knock you over. But now that he's landed,
Now that he's landed.
yeah.
hey, it's okay. You know, Cora's gonna try to be comforting.
Yeah.
She is actually going to use comfort and encouragement.
Mhm.
Because why wouldn't she? But yeah, it's the same thing of like, then random words will come out of her mouth.
You speak to a non-hostile creature within short range. I just have to read this. Telling them exactly what they need to hear to have a better day.
You don't know what these words are
Yeah.
until you say them.
Yep.
It's just like the bag thing.
So you're kind of like,
What
hey,
power?
no,
My
it's
God.
okay. We're not like, no, he didn't mean anything by saying that they're your friends. And can you tell us what happened? Can we help you? You know, all of that stuff. And she kind of like slowly calms down a little bit. And her body is still shaking, and she's still definitely very emotionally distraught by this. But she goes,
Does she, in fact, look like the person whose picture was on?
oh
the
yeah,
image?
it's definitely Jane.
Okay. Just wanted to double check. Okay.
Yeah, fair. And you give me so many good ideas. And she kind of like says, I just wanted to help him, and it's just kind of like a very incoherent babble. But through all of it, you kind of like manage to piece together that apparently at some point she had received a kind of a very distressed and distressing message from Father Weldon, and that he needed her help, and that she came and tried to heal him, and that it just like that instead of like the usual way that it worked, there was like this weird green light, and he died, and became kind of like the first zombie.
Oh no.
And he kind of like proceeded to go around biting people and making more zombies, who then continued to bite people and make more zombies. But that they seem to be oddly focused on kind of like following her around, which is why at some point she came down here and locked herself in.
Gosh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry.
I I don't know why it didn't work.
Well, what was wrong with him?
He seemed just hurt. He seemed injured.
Well, okay. Maybe he had a thing too from that. You know, the incident.
You saw the light as well?
Oh yeah. Sorry, we got a bunch of weird stuff going on. I mean, Cora's eyes are currently deeply weird,
Yeah.
as noted.
Victor is
I
Victor.
believe again one smiley face, one marble. Yeah, sorry. No, we're just super. We saw you on the TV because you've been reported missing, and we're busybodies.
I don't know if we should phrase it like that.
How would you phrase it?
Okay.
How does it? Wait, I mean, but I can't. That's very. It's very kind of you, but I can't leave. If I leave, they'll follow me, and then. Oh God.
Yeah. So there's an off chance. So if this was a weird thing from combining your weirdness and his weirdness, and if he's one of these people, it's possible that the weirdness is still like a thing, and maybe we can have that not be a thing. Like maybe it's not permanent. That's what I'm hoping right now at this particular. Can you point him out? Is he still which one?
Yeah. And she kind of like looks up and with a shaky voice she says, Father Tom? And there's like this wave of moans that extends through the sea of zombies. Like it just goes. And as it does, like there's some shuffling and everything, and all of this takes impossibly long. And eventually a man in like a priest's robe shuffles up to the platform. And he goes,
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what to do at this point.
Maybe we ought to check him for one of those, them doodads.
Oh, if it's a relic, maybe.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Does he have any obvious relics on him?
make a perception or investigation check. This is going to be a level 3 task. Intellect. Anyone who wants to may jump in on it, except for Rex, who is very far away. Rex, do you have any reaction to a stadium wave of moans?
Yeah, I think as he's hearing that happening, like he maybe holds out a fist and is like preparing to like spray magma if necessary.
Okay.
Sensible. Oh, so Cora does have her phone light still right up here. So is it slightly easier for Rex to see what's going on?
Yeah.
I think I'll roll 2, because I could probably use magic training in this
sure thing.
scenario.
I'm gonna spend 1 to bump 1 down.
Yep.
And I have 1 from perception being trained, so it's just 3 I'm looking for. 9. Everything's great.
I got a 12.
You got a 12. Okay. Both of you do manage to see like a little bit of a rest golden glow on something. And you kind of like look and you realize that on the side of his neck there is a little sticker that has a big red minus on it.
Okay.
Surely that just looks like a line. It's a
Maybe
sticker
it's
with
like
a line.
it's a whatchamacallit, like like it's a I mean I'm not sure what that, maybe it was just a warning sticker or whatever, but if it's like making powers work backwards.
Like
Oh,
reversing?
Could also
Yeah.
just be like that weird with the other weird. You got your peanut butter and my jelly kind of problem.
sure, it's also possible. I'm a little concerned because if we take it off of him, then he might just like die, like just be dead then. Which
I mean, to be
guess
fair, he's already dead.
technically an
He is
improvement. I'm right, but I
Okay.
mean just in terms of recovering the situation, right? But like it's still golden, which means it's still like working. So if it's a relic, it hasn't like done its normal thing because then it wouldn't be glowing anymore. But the problem is that the other, like, because the other option is if you're assuming that it's like making powers go backwards, then somebody would have to use a power to like super kill him, which would then be backwards and make him be alive. That seems super dangerous as a test. So then again, he's not getting worse exactly. So not a lot of downside, but I think the taking it off of them might be it might have to be an either or thing, because taking it off of him might mean we don't have that choice anymore. I don't know what's gonna happen. I do
mean,
have like I can hold a relic because I used one, so I have an empty. But the fact that it's stuck to him feels like it must have been like maybe it was activated and it's just still working.
It could be what is making him the living dead.
I mean, I could
I
could
think it's
attempt
preferable.
something non-lethal. See what it does. It probably wouldn't obliterate him. It takes a minute, so I can kind of back out if it ain't going great.
Well, why don't we try this? Because we have a way of like, I'm asking a GM question now. We have a way of like intuiting the function of relics, right?
Yes.
What is that way
Mhm.
exactly? We just sort of dwell with them.
Yeah, it's you dwell upon the imponderable, and in your pondering of the imponderable, you realize the impossible, which is what the
Nice.
things do.
Is that something that can happen relatively quickly?
It's just sure with a roll. Let's make it a roll. If you have,
Okay, so-
it's going to be a level 3 task. It's intellect related, and any kind of magic or supernatural stuff you have is going to help to this.
Yep, we're all about that. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trained. So down to 2, and we're gonna spend. We're gonna spend 3 to
Okay.
go all the way down to
Okay.
not rolling at all.
Yep, that's
and
fine.
I'm gonna spend them. I'm gonna spend 1 from might, and 2 from speed. I'm,
Yep, that's
I'm gonna
fine.
use my shenanigans. Now I have all 7s.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
Nice.
Yeah, I
Jackpot.
told you that she was a one-armed bandit. Yeah, so you kind of like dwell upon this sticker and on the zombie neck, and you do kind of like realize this was definitely what you're calling a relic. This was definitely a cipher. It had definitely triggered like once, and its effect has a very long duration, or rather, the duration of it is for as like it keeps applying the same effect for as long as it remains sticking.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it is relative like it is a relatively safe bet that it is some sort of weird reversal, or it's questionable whether it's a reversal thing, like it does the opposite of the power that triggers it, or if it's like a negative version of the power. So it's like healing someone is a positive thing, but making them into an undead minion is a negative version of healing someone, because like they're still moving around. Like you're not sure
Okay.
which of those two it is, but it was definitely something to that tone that triggered when she used her power on him.
Okay.
Okay.
Which means that we're not gonna be able to make it do the thing again,
That is correct.
or maybe because it's already done that thing.
That
to
is
it.
this. It's already done.
The only thing we can do is take it off, in which case
Yes.
either he'll get better or he'll just die.
That is correct.
Be an improvement.
Does somebody else want to take it off?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Fraser?
Sorry.
Where's it? No. Maybe I get lucky and it undoes some of my damage.
I'm not worried about it being dangerous to us. I just don't want to.
I guess we know Remy can't get hurt by these things.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Sure.
he
Well, I
will-
mean
Remy
that
will
one.
regenerate.
Maybe
Could have sharper teeth.
Father Tom is got better biters.
How do you do it?
He will just slither over and reach up and
Okay. As you kind of like reach, it's kind of like a little sticky, and because it is kind of decomposing and sallow skin, it's a bit of a process. And Father Welding definitely is very interested and starts gnawing on your arm, but you don't really feel it because it doesn't penetrate the scales. It's just like and eventually you manage to Eventually, you manage to kind of like peel it off, and as soon as you peel it off, Father Welding and all of the 100 other zombie people collapse. And I think that is where we're going to end for tonight.
That's what I assumed was going to happen. Yeah.
Yay, we kind of won.
I mean, I would consider this a win. We stopped an even further zombie
Oh no,
infection.
no, unarguably better than having done nothing.
Yeah.
Improve
yeah.
the situation. It's not ideal, but it is improved.
Yes.
We don't know that they're all dead, right? Like,
We were
I mean,
already dead at
They're
that
probably
point.
all dead. Yeah.
If they're not dead, then they all have major gangrene, and there's
Yeah, this
an
is
incredible health crisis
They
right
are.
here, right now. But since we've
If they're
ended,
not
I'm
already
assuming
dead,
it's
they're
not
already
that.
close.
Alrighty. We are going to end here. We're going to pick up exactly at this spot in 2 weeks on June 28th. With
To be continued.
To be
okay.
continued, yes. There might be some shuffling of players depending on availabilities, but we will handle that. In the meantime, let us do a quick round of extroductions, and then please stick around for the raid, as we are going to show some other TTRPG players some love. Ben, who are you? Where can we find you? What do you do?
hello, I am Ben Newborn. I run the Cybertopia AP podcast, which also features D. And actually, we're running through his group story at the moment. Next episode comes out on Tuesday. We're every other Tuesday, and yeah, this arc's really fun. It's a wild one. We are about to start a little bit of a cult with D actually at the center. So yeah, come and follow us.
It's
on
not a
wherever
theme,
you
I
get your
swear.
podcasts. Yeah, it's entirely D's idea. He just loves cults. So,
Oh, this
yeah.
is the sun god thing. I saw that on Blue Sky. I think.
No, it's a nice cult. Yeah. No,
It's a nice.
anyway, find us anywhere you
Right.
get your podcasts. Yeah.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
It's
The
D's
cult.
fault.
Alrighty. Adam.
Hi, I've been Adam playing Remy. I am a software engineer, game developer, musician, voice actor working in the entertainment industry. You can find all of my various things on soulblind.card.co. Get links to my socials and demo reels. If you want to check me out, go there. And tune in for part 2 of Zombie Drama.
Part 2 of Zombie Drama. Glitch.
Sorry, the first thought that went into my head was instead of K drama, it's Z drama. I'll leave.
No, I'm here. I'm here
You
for it.
can you can check me out pretty much anywhere. Glitchchaotic.card.co is where all of my stuff is. I link all of my current projects, including these streams, there, and everything I'm working on. I'm not 100% sure if we will be having a session this month, as there has been a thing that has happened. But you can check me out on Fridays once a month over at the Break System, Break the Twilight Labyrinth, where I play a lovely. I almost said thief with a heart of gold, but that doesn't describe Mesa accurately because he is a thief that was unwillingly dragged into this and would rather not be there, but he's there anyways because everybody will get themselves killed if he is not doing like all of the scouting. Check me out there.
A thief with a heart of nope.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. I've been auditioning for things. I've had stuff going on, so I will talk about it in the future when I can, and if I can, we'll see if any of it comes to fruition or not. I'll be starting streaming again soon, at least in the next week and a half. I'm getting a new monitor, and I will be able to start gaming and doing gaming streaming and maybe some art streams and stuff again. You can check me out on Twitch as Glitched Chaotic. Come join me. We'll have lots of fun. I know you see my face here, but on my channel I do VTubing because it's so much easier on my energy levels. And I'll be debuting technically a new model since I took a break for a while. So come check that out once I start up again.
Awesome stuff. And Dora?
Hi, I am Pandora Beatrix. I am an actor of various kinds, primarily voice. I can be heard most often on the Modus Files, a Fallout 76 podcast. We are in the final stretch of the series as a whole. There are only 3 more episodes left, although the next one is going to be a 2-parter because it's ridiculously long. But we are in fact currently featured on the welcome screen of Fallout 76 when you log in. We are up there
Awesome.
in
That's
a
so cool.
big picture. It's super weird, but there it is. I'm also going to be on a podcast called Store 236, which is hilarious and also a little bit spoopy. Don't know when it's releasing yet. I will let you know when I do. My website is pandorabeatrix.com, which has links to all my socials and a variety of my nonsense on it, aside from my actual voice samples, because F you, SoundCloud. Haven't recovered from that yet. All my SoundCloud stuff I deleted because of their nonsense. But we'll get there eventually. But it is updated now, aside from that, so I'm not as ashamed of it. So feel free to go there and bask in my lack of shame.
And bask we shall. And last and certainly least, I have been D or Night Wanderer, your dungeon master
Stop.
here.
No,
and
stop that.
I won't.
Do that every time now.
I
Stop
will.
being mean.
Yes, though. You can find me streaming on Twitch mostly 3 times a week. I do 2 weeknights, which vary around depending on other scheduling things, which are currently Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition, Shadows of Undrentide, and other words as well. It's a very long title. Also Disco Elysium, and on Sundays from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. That is a pretty much fixed thing. I play currently Dragon Age the Veilguard. You can also find me on Ben's podcast, Cybertopia, playing Toby, the resilient test subject who has recently been discovering the ancient and noble art of nappage. And you can also find me on John's podcast, Bacon Flavored Pods, where we play Mecha versus Kaiju. And might at some point also do a Final Fantasy themed thing because I have a lack of ability to say no. You are potentially also going to be seeing me on this channel playing in a Call of Cthulhu game because, again, I am possessed of an incapability to say no. Apart from that, I think I don't have any other things in the works at the moment that are not purely ideas that fart around in my head. We have been Gilded Age, the Cypher system actual play of would-be heroes. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for being here. Stick around for the raid. Please show our raidees the same love and care you show us. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. And stick in there. Bye.
Bye.